Welcome back to another episode of On the Spot Sports. I'm Jack, and I'm along with.
Tyler from On the Spot Sports.
And in today's episode, we have a very special guest. We have Parker Smith coming on from Northern Illinois University, who plays soccer for them. Parker, how are you doing?
I'm good. How are you guys doing?
Not bad.
Not bad. It's just interesting times right now. So nothing really to do besides stay inside your home. So how's quarantine life treating you?
It's been all right. It's been a little bit boring, but it's given me a chance to kind of branch out into some new hobbies and really time to stay focused on my sports and schoolwork and stuff like that.
Yeah, for sure. And what are some of those new hobbies that you've come up with throughout this time?
I've gotten into a little bit of like calisthenics type of training, trying to do some body weight stuff. And then I've also really developed love for cooking. And I've been doing a lot of cooking and learning how to meal prep and stuff like that, which has been nice.
Yeah, I've seen a bunch of that on your story, and the food looked delicious.
Thank you, man. I appreciate it.
Yeah, no problem. So going off like the body weight stuff, like what do you see? I know you've started like a personal training type thing, right? It's like
Yeah, I
what's
did.
the goal for that, and like how do you get that started?
So it was like the winter of my senior year. So this would be like about a year and a half ago now. I got really big into weight training and stuff like that. I was coming back from a compound fracture of my humerus, and I had my whole right arm reconstructed. So when I was coming back from that, I got really big into the gym and like learning different types of strength training and trying to get myself back on the field. And in the process of it, I just acquired a lot of knowledge about weight training and bodybuilding, for lack of a better word, just basically shaping your body into however you want it to be, not necessarily in the conventional sense of bodybuilding. And then a lot about nutrition and how to fuel yourself. And I just thought that I had some information that I would like to share with anyone who had interest in it, and another way for me to just continue to improve upon my skill set and kind of dive deeper into this thing that I have so much interest in.
Yeah, for sure. And I took part in your class as well, and honestly, you know your stuff. You really do, and it helped me get better in the weight room, especially now since like we don't have like a lot to go off of since the gyms are closed and everything. But like just doing body weight stuff, it's just like even though a lot of it was like heavyweight stuff, but like your knowledge of like just anything lifting wise has really carried over, especially for me, just like training wise and how to like keep bettering myself.
Yeah, and to that point, I'm also doing body weight training programs available and eating programs and things like that. So if anyone has any interest, feel free to reach out to me. And I know that people have very varying amounts of equipment at their house available. I am fortunate enough to have some dumbbells and have a barbell and some resistance bands and stuff like that that makes working out a little bit easier. But I know that there are a lot of people that have everything from a full service home gym to nothing at all, and everyone's trying to stay fit or get fit or make achieve some type of goal, and you're not going to do it without a plan. So that's obviously the first step is just making sure you have your sights set on a goal and you know the steps you need to take to get there.
Yeah, I think it's really important for like you to have like a goal that you have in mind, and then you could easily build off of that, like and like do like workouts that work for that person, especially for like what they have.
Exactly.
And so going back to like your injury, like how did that like affect like your soccer uh that year in soccer, and like how do you like get back into it, because it probably must have been a huge like losing your confidence because like your whole arm had to be reconstructed and everything.
Yeah, it was definitely a big change for me. It was towards the end of my spring season of my junior year. It took me, I want to say, between 8 and 9 months to be fully recovered. I was actually playing in a soccer tournament, and I compound fractured my humerus, so I was in St. Louis on a team trip, so I was ambulanced off the field to a hospital in St. Louis where I was splinted up and then driven 5 hours home, and I was operated on the next day uh, around here at a hospital in Hinsdale. And then I had about 4.5, almost 5 months where I really couldn't even get my heart rate elevated much. I was stuck to like just walking around. I had a 9.5 inch plate and 10 screws put into my arm.
Wow.
So I had a long period of time where I couldn't do much of anything. And then I had 3 to 4 months after that where I was constrained to just rehab activities, starting to do some weight training, stuff like that, but couldn't really get back on the field, at least in a full game like capacity. Eventually, I was able to make the jump back onto playing, and it was very difficult, but I would say that I had less mental issues than I thought that I would. A lot of people that I had spoken to who had struggled with similar degree of injury really talked about the mental impact that it had on them and the way that they struggled to get their confidence back and trust that body part and trust that movement and that type of thing. But luckily for me, it kind of all came back pretty quickly. And it put a little bit of a wrench in my recruiting process that I was going through, but I still ended up signing with NIU, and I'm there now, and I'm happy, and things are going really well there. So obviously this season got cut short with coronavirus, but things are going well, and I'm just happy to be back and playing and doing what I love.
Yeah, exactly. I'm happy you're back. And since like you couldn't do like any like lot of like physical activity, like get your like heart rate up. I personally know you, so like I know that like that's a huge thing of you, like that you want to be like physically active and all that. So that must have been really hard. Like, what was your like your like mind like throughout all these times?
Yeah, actually, I went through a spot where I was really down in the dumps. Sounds funny to say it, but I don't know if I would say I struggled with depression, but I had some time periods where I really felt like, oh, without soccer, like really, what was the point? Without being able to train and play and do the stuff that I love, like it just kind of left a void in me. But I think it was an important time to me for personal growth. I really learned a lot about like my goals and my aspirations and my abilities and things like that being greater than just one facet of my life, just one sport, just one activity. So it was important for me, and it was really hard in the moment. In retrospection, I think it was really valuable, but as I was going through it, there was just nothing that I wanted more than for it to end. But now that it's over with, I definitely see the value of it, and I don't know if I would say if I could go back, I would do it again, but I would certainly say that the lessons that I learned and the time off that I was forced to take pushed me in a positive direction in the end of all of it.
Yeah, so I was really wondering about just this is just after your injury happened, more about your mindset. What were you in that mindset where you after the injury you were like, when can I get back on that soccer field? Or was your mindset, will I ever be able to get back on that soccer field again?
Yeah, so luckily for me being an arm injury and for the most part staying out of both major joints in the arm, my shoulder and my elbow, I didn't have really much doubt that I would get back to playing right immediately after it happened. And I first saw my first doctor in St. Louis prior to being operated on or anything. The doctor, like, of course, gave one of those movie diagnoses where he's like, oh, I don't know if you'll ever be able to play again. And I, in the moment, just didn't really think much of it. I was more worried about what was actually going on. But when I met with my doctor who did my surgery and post-surgery, he's like, things are actually going to heal up really nicely here. It's going to take some time, but you'll be able to get back to playing. And for me, then that was just what it became. The surgery was step one on a road to getting back on the field and getting back to training and lifting and doing all that stuff that I was missing the whole time that I was out. So I would definitely say my mindset was a mindset of just being driven towards a goal and an end game, and knowing that however small the steps I was allowed to take there were still going to be steps towards an eventual end point of getting back on the field.
Yeah. So, did you ever think like your recruiting time was over, like since that injury happened, or did you like know that you were going to get recruited eventually, but like you didn't know when, since this injury occurred?
Yeah, that was definitely I wouldn't say the most, but one of the most difficult parts of this whole injury process was I really was not set on going anywhere. Like, I had a few different options. I was exploring playing at a couple different schools, but I hadn't committed anywhere. I hadn't really received any like concrete scholarship offers that I was like set on and I was ready to go and applied and all that. And the other issue that I faced was during the spring of my junior year, spring of my sophomore year. So this is 1 year before I got hurt. Spring of my sophomore year, I broke my ankle, and I missed that whole recruiting season. I fortunately didn't have to have surgery. It wasn't super long injury, but I missed like the National Cup, things like that I would have had as like a great recruiting tool. So I was kind of already behind the ball in that sense. And then after this happened, there was definitely moments where I was like, am I going to have to try and take a gap year? Am I going to have to go somewhere and try and walk on? Like, how is this all going to pan out for me? But luckily, the coaches at NIU had seen me play prior to being injured, and they were able to catch a game after I had gotten back and gotten healthy, and they were willing to, for lack of a better word, take a chance on me. So I'm hoping to really have that pay off for them and let my time there be everything that they had hoped it would be and more. And that's what I want for myself and for the program, because the program is really, really coming along, and I think we're going to turn a corner this year. And I want to be the player that they took a chance on that really ended up making a positive difference for them, because like you were saying, it was uncertain for me, and I didn't know if there was going to be a school that was going to take a chance on me.
Yeah, for sure. That must have been a really good feeling when they took that chance on you after seeing you play that one game after you're healthy again. And hopefully I think I know it will. You'll have a big impact on NIU's the soccer path in the next few years for sure. So going back to like the start of your soccer career, like what got you into soccer, and like how old were you when you first started playing?
Well, I think like all little kids, I started playing when I was really young. It's kind of like that staple sport for a lot of kids all over the world. You're like 6, 7 years old, and your parents are throwing you in the yellow and green Park District tees that we are all too familiar with. But I started playing when I was really, really young, probably 6 or 7 years old. But my whole life, I did all different types of sports. I swam, I did a little bit of flag football, I played baseball, I played basketball, I played volleyball, I played soccer. I did everything growing up, but soccer was kind of the one constant. I phased in and out of sports. I was never very good at baseball. I couldn't get the mechanics of it down right. I couldn't throw right. I was kind of goofy as a kid. And soccer, I don't know, I just felt more natural to me. And then maybe around age 10 or 11, I really got into playing goalkeeper. I had been stuck back there, honestly, because I just wasn't a very good athlete when I was young. And they put me back there because I loved to play, and I always came to practice and always came to the games and had a good attitude, but I wasn't very good on the field. So they stuck me back in goal, and I ended up really liking it. And going from there. And then ever since then, I stuck through it. I played volleyball all through middle school. I ran cross country in middle school. Then in high school, I played volleyball. I actually was planning on playing basketball and last second decided not to play basketball. Then I played volleyball my freshman and sophomore year. And then my sophomore year, I played varsity volleyball, and I was really kind of stuck at a crossroads. I was like, I think I like volleyball. I'm just getting into it, starting to play club. Do I like volleyball or soccer more? And then I ended up ditching volleyball to really focus on soccer. And I'm happy that I did. It was a hard decision, but I think soccer just has kind of always stuck with me. And being a goalkeeper now, I've been position specialized for almost 10 years. And I don't think that could ever change, for a lack of technical ability to play in other positions at the level that I want to play at, but also just for a passion for the position in the game. And just I couldn't see my life without soccer.
Yeah, so going off of what you just said, I think he kind of almost answered it there, but I was wondering, was volleyball the other sport? If you didn't go into soccer, was volleyball going to be the sport that you were going to think about going into for college?
Yeah, definitely. I love volleyball. So my dad played collegiate soccer. He's actually went to Downers Grove South. He captained the high school soccer team there about be 40 years ago now. And he played soccer in college. My mom grew up in a small town in Iowa, played volleyball her whole life, actually walked on to the University of Iowa women's volleyball program and earned herself a scholarship, played on scholarship there. So I kind of had the two sports in my genes, for lack of a better word. And I did love volleyball. I played 2 seasons of club volleyball. I played high school volleyball for 2 years, middle school volleyball, and it really was a sport that I loved. But I think the biggest difference for me was I didn't really find success in the same way, and I'm a very success-driven person. So I saw volleyball as being something that I enjoyed a lot and like a lifetime sport, but something that wasn't going to really take me super far. Whereas soccer, I saw as something to pursue as a career and to try and play professionally and start by playing at the collegiate level. So volleyball definitely was the other sport, but at the end of the day, I think that I was always going to end up with soccer.
Yeah, so you're talking about you want to play professional soccer after college. How do you plan to pursue that if you're going to?
Well, professional soccer in the U.S. is expanding a lot right now. We're adding a lot of USL teams, which USL is the divisions underneath the MLS. So if your MLS, which is your first division American soccer, then you have the USL Championship, USL 1, USL 2, and USL Championship and USL 1 are expanding a lot, and they are like professional, paid, salaried players. So there's a lot of opportunities that are opening up there for college kids, but even more so than that, I'm exploring the prospect of playing in Europe after college. I had the pleasure of going over to Portugal the winter break of my senior year, and I played there for 2 to 3 weeks. I was there in Portugal, and I was training every day with Sporting, which is a big club in Portugal. And I think it gave me, one, a little bit of exposure, but two, kind of an insight into the level at which the professional game is being played in Europe and how the top tier is really, really high level. But the tiers underneath it are certainly not an unreachable level for me. And shout out to my friend Brian Schwacke, who is a goalkeeper for DePaul this past year, played his freshman season there, and then over his winter break ended up actually going over to Scotland and signing a pro contract in Scotland. And then my very, very good friend, Roman Salentano as well, who is playing at Indiana currently and has gotten looks from different professional clubs throughout his youth career, and that I am sure will also find a professional career. So I know that being around and training with these guys and seeing that they're at a higher level than me, but not at an unattainable level, it really gives me hope for the future and what that might hold. And I think that, I mean, Brian is obviously already a professional caliber goalkeeper, and Roman is a top tier Division 1 goalkeeper who has undoubted professional future for me. And just being around those guys and training with them and in teams with them for years, I know that the level that they're at and that they're going to reach is an attainable goal for me, and something that, with the context that we have in goalkeeper coaches in the U.S. and overseas, that it's something that's definitely not too far-fetched for me when I finish up my degree here in the States.
Yeah, that's awesome that you have all those connections and that you've been training with those guys. I'm kind of like in the same situation with hockey. Like after college, I obviously want to pursue and try to go pro, and I've looked at like playing overseas in Europe as well, as long as like playing as well as playing like in like the levels like here, obviously. But it's like the same situation as you, like the connections and like everything that you have like to a team or like personnel on the team. It's all there, and as long as you work hard, anything's attainable.
Exactly. I've always been a big believer in that if you set your mind to any goal, you'll achieve it in due time.
Yeah, for sure. So, what was your favorite part about playing over in Portugal? Those like 2 to 3 weeks.
I think honestly it was well, it was right after I came back from an injury, so it was a tough time in the sense of this is right after I had come back from my um uh like my time that I had spent off rehabbing and all that. So it was definitely an adjustment period, but I got to go with Roman and Brian, these two friends of mine, and they really, it was breathtaking to see the way that they kind of integrated seamlessly into the program that they already had in place there. They were called to play with their youth academies there, and these are some of the best youth academies like in the world. And they were able to step in and play at the level that they needed to be at there. And I think that getting to see that and then getting to realize that I was training with guys of this caliber every day was a big thing for me, and was really an uplifting experience. It was also cool to see the professional environment that's created there. I mean, for everything from the hours that you spend sleeping to the gym work to the field work to the meals, like everything is so structured because at that level, your body and the way that you perform has to be so consistently maintained at such a high level that there really is no room for error. And it was cool to see that level of professionalism, even with a youth academy for such a high level team.
Yeah, it just seems like you were like in the right spot, right place at the right time, and you got to learn from those guys and learn from like the programs that they've been working with, and just like knowledge that you can use to help better yourself.
Definitely.
Uh, Other than Portugal, is there another dream spot that you would love to play soccer in?
Yeah, I think that playing in England would be amazing. English soccer is kind of a breed of its own. It's really well paid leagues for the most part. Obviously, the lower that you get, the lower the pay goes. But I mean, just the fan bases, the support is unbelievable, and the training environments and the caliber of the players there is so high. I would say England, Spain, Portugal, any of those areas would just be unbelievable places to play. But I also wouldn't say that I'm opposed to playing anywhere in the world. I mean, I love experiencing new cultures and experiencing just new ways of life, new styles of soccer, all that. So I wouldn't say that I'm opposed to playing anywhere. I would play in Asia. I'd even experience playing in Africa if it was a door that opened up and it made sense for me. Australia, Europe, anywhere in the Americas. I mean, there's a lot of doors. Luckily, and interestingly enough, everywhere other than in the U.S., soccer is pretty much the main sport. So, other than in the U.S. and Canada and maybe some islands, soccer kind of dominates the sports system, and there's a lot of teams and a lot of spots to play if you set your mind to it.
Yeah, exactly. And I believe like any sport you play, it's all about the experiences you get to be in, all the places you get to travel, like all like the places you train, you make connections everywhere. It's just like that's all gonna help you in your career.
Yeah, no, definitely. I couldn't agree more with the fact that it's about experience because I mean, for me, I'm pursuing a degree that I think will benefit me a lot financially, and I think I'll have time in my life to make my money later on. And if I can experience playing professional soccer and doing what as much money, I'll do that, and I'll give that out in a heartbeat to make money later in my life and deal with that aspect in a little bit more for, like you said, the experience, because I think that experience is invaluable. To get to experience playing a professional sport and the brotherhood that you form, it's unmatched by anything.
Yeah, it's it's unmatched, like you said. And since you're getting a degree, it's like you have something to fall back on if something doesn't work. But hopefully, like everything does work. But at least you have that degree, and that you're like you have like good financial support there.
Yeah, definitely. It was something that factored into my decision was making sure that I was able to get a degree. I put a lot of time and work into my studies throughout elementary school, obviously not really, but up into like high school and taking AP classes and doing all this and applying for scholarships. It was important to me to make sure that I didn't let all that time become a waste and that I got a degree and I found something that I was passionate about and that would also benefit me financially. So I thought that it would be in my best interest to continue to improve my soccer skills while earning a degree and then afterwards pursue my professional career.
Yeah. So we have a few more questions for you before we end this. But how do you think your first year at NIU went? Besides for the season ending, getting cut short.
Luckily, men's soccer is a fall sport in the NCAA, so our competition season still went as planned. I did redshirt this season, which was an interesting experience to say the least. Not really something that I was used to doing, not playing and training, but it did give me a lot of time to focus on improving my mindset and improving on my body, improving my technical abilities, things like that. And we really have a great coaching staff, and we had a great group of goalkeepers in the fall that brought it every day, and we were able to improve a lot, and I was able to learn a lot. So I uh, I think the fall, as much as it was difficult during it, was a valuable time for me, and I was actually able to get my debut game, our first game of the spring. Um, we got a 1-0 win, which was really nice, and then we never got to play any games after that because of coronavirus. But I think the soccer season went well. Obviously, I'm learning now with how long and how frequent the training and all that is during the collegiate season because it really does run pretty much year round, minus like a month for the winter. Um, there's a lot of ebbs and flows and ups and downs to a competition season and a training season, and that was something that I needed to adjust to. But I think I understand that now, and I'm going to definitely be bringing that into me, bringing that in with me to this coming 2020 fall season, which we're expecting a really good season. So I'm excited for that. And schoolwork was manageable. It was sometimes a lot with traveling, but I was able to take some steps towards my degree, and hopefully I'll be on track to be graduating early, which would be nice. So I think all in all, things are going really well. I met a lot of great people there. Loved my roommate, great guy, teammate of mine, and I loved all the guys on the team. I really think that the bond that we built was super, super strong and is going to carry us really far. And I'm going to miss the seniors a lot, and even my friends outside of soccer. I bond with a lot, and I'm looking forward to the rest of my time that I'm going to be spending there, and making more memories and hopefully winning a lot of games and going from there.
Yeah, so what do you think's the biggest takeaway that you've learned through your first year of college, either soccer or like academically?
Well, for soccer, I would say for any collegiate athlete, biggest takeaway from your first season, and this is coming from a red shirt, so a little bit different than some people get. My roommate, Adrian, he played almost every minute for us the whole season. Absolute stud as a freshman. Also, the other freshman that came in, we only had a small recruiting class of 3 guys. Luis, again, total stud, played almost every minute for us. And they kind of had a little bit different freshman experience than me. They were able to hop into the team and really make an instant impact. But I think for me, the biggest thing that I learned is that you can make an impact while not playing. And I think that I had a locker room presence and a presence off the field or on the field during training that I don't think was ignored by the team or by the coaches. And it felt good to really still be a part of a team and be a part of a family while not contributing on the field in the same way as my fellow freshmen were. And then for not soccer, I would say I learned that just time management is so important. And it may not be the fun call to stay in one night, or it may not be the fun call to get to sleep early, but in the fall, our training time was before any classes. I mean, I was up before 6 a.m. some days. So I needed to get to bed in order to get sleep, because if I wasn't sleeping, I wasn't going to perform as well in my classes or in training. So that was definitely a big skill for me, was really optimizing my time well and learning that sometimes you have to make the unpopular decision because it's better for the long-term goals.
Yeah, those are some great things that you said. And like I had the same situation where it's like time management I've learned is a huge thing in college. I'm sure you did too, Tyler. And it's like it's probably the most important thing to do. And then like for athletics, it's just like being a good teammate. Even if like you're not contributing like you would want to, you still got to be that good teammate and support like everyone that's actually like competing and playing well. So that's like my biggest takeaways that I got from my first 2 years of college and from what you just said.
I think that's super important for anyone that does anything that involves a team. You have to remember that if you sign up to be in a team sport, it's team first mentality always.
Yeah, exactly. So thank you, Parker, for coming on. It was a true honor to have you on. And we wish you nothing but the best of luck, especially going into hopefully going pro soon.
Thank you, guys. I was very happy to be here and glad to chat with you guys and catch up a little bit. And I would be happy to come back anytime.
Yeah, for sure. We'll definitely get you on soon. So we'll see you.
Thanks,
Thanks,
guys.
Parker.